Good morning. Welcome to Morning Coffee. I have my favorite special guest with me. At some point, you'll stop. No, you're never going to stop being special. I love you too much.
Huh?
Never. Um, I missed coffee yesterday because I forgot my house keys.
Yeah.
It's a good mental exercise. How do you get into your house with nothing? Nothing to pry windows,
Right?
no keys. It's winter, kind of chilly, not freezing, but chilly. Foot of snow on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I win. I got
Yep.
in. Yep.
There's definitely some winning going on.
Yes. And friendly reminder, good regional time of day to use, Astra. Friendly reminder that your house is not as secure as you think it is. So if your house is secure, I challenge you to walk around in the daytime when there are people around watching who might call the cops but probably won't. Find a way in. Find those vulnerabilities.
Right?
Yep.
That's fun.
Yeah, sure is. Now I
Basically,
just have to teach the
do
kids.
Oppo research on your own house. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and definitely have to teach the kids because that's a lifetime of forgetting house keys. When I was in grade whatever it was that I started carrying a house key.
Right?
Ooh, keypad door lock. Now that's some
That's the way. Even like the
business.
we were talking about doing the like the Ring doorbell things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like it just doesn't make me mad. Like it's pretty cool. And now there's a camera or whatever like automatically attaches to your phone. So every time we go to Michelle's parents' place, they see us come up to the door or whatever, and then Carrie, Michelle's father-in-law's like a gem of a human, always tries to do some Star Wars reference or something. It's kind of funny, right? Like it's like can
That's
be present at your front door without being present at your front door, kind of all the time.
yeah. My sister-in-law has one of those, and it's really great when the neighborhood kids come over to see if her kids are around and they're not home. They can actually talk to them and like say, not now, maybe later.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's cool.
yeah.
It's fun.
I don't know if I want one though. I'm still kind of on the fence. The more things that I have in my home to spy on me, the less I love it.
Right?
It's both
Yeah, that's
convenience
true.
and I don't know about that.
All right. Make
So I
sorry,
got
I'm buying cups. if I
good.
seem if I seem distracted, it's because I am.
Excellent. Excellent. So yeah, a couple of fun things. I put up a bunch of stuff on Zazzle because having art that you can use is fun. And in case anybody doesn't know, it was all spurred by my coffee mug, which is a very, very cool monster mug. So I wanted to do that. And I think I'm finally at a place where I can. So there I go.
Yeah,
Um,
that's awesome.
yeah, and it's a bucket of fun. Um, the other announcement is not an announcement. Questions.
Hmm.
I need my coffee clearly.
Yeah,
Um,
me too. Oh my
you've been
goodness.
talking a lot about our friends at Wombat, and I know nothing about them. So can you tell me a little bit? Who is Wombat? What do they do? I
Oh
think
man.
I
Okay,
wallet,
so
but I don't know anything.
you remember when the Lynx wallet was like the be all end all for us on EOS for Triple,
Yeah,
right? And they kind of went down a little bit, and they were sort of like not supporting it as much anymore. And then EOS kind of became unusable because there was a bunch of people that were doing those exploits, and then like everybody started getting those CPU errors, yada yada yada, right? Okay,
hmm,
so Wombat came out and said, "Hey, hold my beer. The first 10 transactions that everyone does, we're gonna like stake all the CPU to the contract and just make it so that the end user has no idea what's going on." Which like is always like a cue for me, right? When people are like, "Hey, like we need to take the blockchain necessary stuff and embed it underneath so that users can get onboarded without requiring a fucking PhD, right?"
yeah,
So they listed. I talked to Adrian, who's their CEO, when they were small. They're not anymore, like at all. They're actually they have like a million accounts or some crazy thing.
good.
Yeah, and but like they were still pretty big even then, right? Like, and they have a whole gaming department, and all this kind of stuff. But they still, would talk to this doofus who created this joke token called Chipple, right? And so they listed us on Wombat, so we actually had a backup, right? We could go over to the Wombat wallet and use it back and forth and whatever. So that to me, like, just spoke volumes about what Adrian, what Wombat like. We've had them on the show, a bunch of times. Like they launched One Play, which is where they're getting a bunch of kind of traditional kind of mobile or online games, right? And then doing cryptocurrency rewards, and now NFT rewards on top of that. They're doing NFTs on both EOS and Wax through Atomic. And they started like a D&D game, which I haven't looked into yet, but they're super excited about, and like they're making other NFTs collections mineable in there. Hardcore wink. And yeah, they're fucking awesome, frankly. Like that, being able to collaborate and work with them in this space, like they're a pure joy, in my
That is
humble opinion.
delightful.
And they're growing. Yeah, like they're doing really, really well. So
good. I should do an awesome show with them.
100%. Yeah, just let me know. I'll line Adrian up. I'm sure they're good to go.
I would love that. That would be good. Yeah, because the more we know about our friends, the more friends we get.
Well said. That's good.
Yeah, it's a weird paradox, but the more you know about your friends, the more friends you end up with. So that
works for me.
Yeah, I like that. I like friends.
Right?
More friends, the merrier.
I like good friends. I also like filter moments where some people kind of auto choose themselves out of your orbit, and even more people auto choose themselves in.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of been this week. There have been a whole bunch of new people on the Twitter, but the overall number hasn't changed. So
that's interesting. There you go.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So
coffee.
Yes.
So yeah, I bought 2 year cups because
woohoo!
Mugs. I want one. Yeah, Michelle hates it when I buy more coffee mugs. I'm like, well, God. When she sees this, she's not. I don't think she's gonna be mad. It's a generational. Like that's not even a coffee mug. It's a collectible at that point.
My coffee mug cupboard is full, and I keep hoping that the 1 or 2 that I don't love will smash. Because I keep seeing things like Monster here, and I keep thinking I want that for my coffee. Mostly just so that I can like take pictures of lattes in it and post it on the internet. Really, like there's not. I want to say, hey, I have a piece of functional fine art. That's it.
Yeah, it's good. I like
it. It's not even bragging rights. I just want to show it off.
This is
fun.
Way.
Yeah.
This is the way.
Yep. Yeah. So here we are, hanging out. There's some big changes afoot, but you're still here. I'm still here. And so that's one of the purposes of all this, is just to be like, hey, we're still here.
Right. Yeah. I think there's been a lot of that, like going back to sort of really core principles. Okay, what do we actually have? What can we actually do? And what do we value ultimately that will force us into doing this and or that, and or like, what can't we do? That kind of thing. It's been pretty epic along those lines, right? And it's come down, for me, it's come down to I'm going to do anything I can possibly do for the team who's willing to come and join me, and put their entire lives at and livelihoods, not lives. So we're not going to war, but livelihoods at risk while we figure all this stuff out. So like in my mind, in a very big way, I work for you guys, and always will, frankly. And then, doing all these gallery openings or demos and seeing all the amazing things that are starting to get built. Like people don't know, like the outside of the Uplift space, people don't know what you guys are building. That I cannot allow that. Not only I can't allow that to die or to go away, I can't allow that to be even upset. Right. There's a few different ways that, things could have got more rocky before they got better. And I'm fighting sort of tooth and nail to that doesn't happen, because I don't want the progress to be interrupted. I don't want the momentum to be interrupted. It's too important.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
rocking and rolling. Got
Absolutely.
coffee, ready to go. And I slept 10 hours last night. Usually I sleep like
so exciting.
Yeah, it really is.
Saturday.
It was amazing. Not been that way.
Amazing. Having good sleep and then waking up refreshed and ready to go.
Yep. It's legit. It's
Absolutely.
legit. I love that you do these shows on our channel, cousin.
I love doing the shows. I think I may end up migrating the coffee show, but probably I want to try and figure out how to do multiple things at one time. But I want to support all the places. I don't have all my eggs in one basket. And so in order to kind of balance that out and not cross all my wires, I might end up having my own channel, but I would want this on this channel too.
We can set
Things.
we can set playlists up so that like your show on a different channel could show up as a playlist on this channel. I think.
I would like to learn how to do that because it's branding is very important, and I'm sure that you're not going to disagree with me there. If you have a strong brand, a strong idea, a strong identity, and a strong community, that has to stay as one.
If you can, I think
If you
like
can. Crossing.
I think that the brand is important once you get to a point where you're bigger than the community. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Well,
like
that's
if you boil everything away down to a community that is super tight, like in the hundreds or whatever,
yeah.
I think everything else can figure out. The whole thing.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, it's a thing, and I want to keep all of my eggs in multiple baskets, but I also want to keep those baskets unique and distinct. And
Yeah.
that's going to be a challenge for me, I think. But
Well, like
because,
this is the moment, right? I mean, like
yeah,
it's sort of jump ball, and
it
I totally
is.
agree. Like
It
I
is.
think you should have your own channel, and I think like the way that we and having like a central point where we're sort of collect all the things so that all of
Yeah.
our different fans or communities or people that like this more than the other thing or whatever, like creates that cross pollination, which is just good for everybody.
Well, and that's what I want more of.
Yeah.
I want
But then it
more
lasts. Oh crap! Lost my.
more of don't put all of your eggs in one basket.
Sorry.
If you have all your eggs in one basket and something happens, then it's a bad time. But if you have
Right.
all your eggs all over the place and you're hanging out with all the foxes at all the chicken farms, then you're good.
I mean, we're in a space that has decentralization as its core value. So
Exactly.
what are you gonna do?
Should be.
Makes sense, and it just means that no matter what happens, it's I think becoming anti-fragile across all of our different work activities is going to be a huge part underlying what we do throughout the course of this year, and also, honestly over the next like 3 to 5 years, right? I mean, this is where we start talking about world DAOs and like every potential sub project, right? Like the support the DAO NFT line that we're going to launch tomorrow is going to morph into something that supports the DAO forever, right? And becomes a platform for content creators and builders and stuff to be elevated and to have NFTs out in the space. And it's just super brilliant. That's going to be its own DAO. Like we're not going to have that, swallowed up in like a big one, because it becomes anti-fragile at that point, right? It becomes its own entity. It'll have its own, books. It's going to have its own contracts on the blockchain, and we'll be able to run itself basically, right? That's the goal.
Well, that's super exciting. And the more, I mean, when we think about the community and the amazing things that everybody in the community is doing, we have a collection of individuals. And this is a shout out to anyone who's watching anytime. Talk to me about what you're doing. Talk to me about your project. Invite me over to your plot. Tell me about what you're doing, because I want to share that.
Yeah.
It's
Zestra, as far as who owns this channel, it's me. We never folded this into all the rest of the stuff. So
yeah, like that.
I mean, it's sort of an inconsequential point compared to the mountain we have to climb, but it's a thing.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah,
it's a good thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's a heck of a mountain, and I think it's going to be an interesting next few weeks. But it's a little bit of paganism to drop on you here. New moon last night. New moon is a time for new beginnings. Also, the spring holiday. I don't know how to pronounce it. Imbolc. It's St. Bridget's Day.
Okay.
But like before she was a saint.
Got it.
So celebration of the coming of spring soon.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Jimmy was telling me Chinese New Year starts this month.
Yeah.
And it's like the year of the tiger. And I'm like, that, okay.
Oh,
I'm in for that.
Okay, great. Let's go.
Game on, motherfucker.
Yeah.
We need some year of the tiger energy up in this shit. And I think we already got it. So like the Chinese are finally catching up to us. They're many thousands of years tradition.
Uh-huh.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Nope, I'm in.
Yeah.
Tiger energy is where it's at.
Right. That's good stuff.
So I don't have a whole lot else to talk about, but I'm curious. How are you finding balance these days? Because that's going to be a big thing. Like yesterday.
Nope.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I'm literally I'm telling random people on the internet that I slept because that's new.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Sleeping, eating.
Tomorrow morning we've got a 7 a.m. show, but then the morning after that I'm going to be doing sunrises again. We live a mile away from the beach, not a half mile, but we got bikes. I just put those together yesterday. So
awesome.
I'm gonna bike down to the beach and do the sunrise. And yeah, and like we're learning a lot from pacing too, right? Like we were gonna launch the support the Dow stuff today at noon, right? And we're like kind of not ready, right? Like we could probably if we raced, and like man, like everything is so freaking urgent, and it always will be. So like I think we need to just kind of be able to take a pause, right? And like what are let's bake in some time so that we can do whatever is extra. We can't do that if we're constantly trying to figure out how to do it in 5 seconds, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's something we've learned this year that I definitely would not have done that way 10 months ago.
Well, I think too, like if our expectations are up here somewhere, the community expectations are probably more like here somewhere. And so if we find that middle ground, I think we'll still be doing extremely well.
Agreed.
Yep.
I'm in. Sign me up. So yeah, I think the balance thing, it's a start. But yeah, I think getting to the point where I don't think I'm going to be able to let the pressure off myself until the buyback is complete. We are in total control, and so I'm going to know what we're going to be able to do, and we need to have enough runway that I know that we're going to be able to pay you guys. Frankly, until that's the case, I'm going to leave it on the field. After that, when that's done, I'm probably going to curl up in the corner of a room somewhere and just kind of sob gently for about 3 days straight. But who gives a shit, right? Just this needs to get done. It needs to get accomplished. And so,
and then after that, you take a break.
We do. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And then you take a break and take some family time and go somewhere where there's no internet.
Legit.
Yeah.
We'll find that place.
At least 3 days minimum.
Now that said, there's a little sailing club up here where you just go and I think it's $100 for the year, some stupid thing, and you can take they have those little laser sailboats, and we're in the intercoastal over here, right? So the beach is a mile away or whatever. There's a bunch of little, they call them lakes, but it's just the ocean. So yeah, I think Saturdays or Sundays are probably going to become Babs and Corey sailing, just little boats, just to be going out and catching some wind. So that'll be a thing.
Yeah, that needs to happen.
Right? I mean, it's.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's family time. I mean, I have family time. I have my weekends, and you don't see a lot of me on the weekends because it's family time.
Yeah, no, it's good. Family first. So, that's the way that has to go.
Even if we all just sit in the same room and ignore each other, it's still family time.
Indeed.
And yeah, and getting outside, moving around. That's the other important one.
Yeah.
That kind of hammered home for me. I took a look at the hours I had from last week, and it was a lot. And so yeah, it's time to get more outside. I shoveled yesterday during a blizzard because I needed to move. Not because I had any hope of accomplishing anything. It looked the same when I was done as it did when I started, but I moved around a lot.
I just looking at the temperatures out there where you are. We sort of had mini winter down here in Miami.
Yeah, I heard the iguanas froze and fell out of the trees.
They do. They get cold and they fall out of the trees, and you actually get warned of falling iguanas. When I first heard that down here, I was like, "You people are fucking with me for sure, right?" Nope, this is what happens. And they're kind of heavy, so they can accidentally hurt you. Iguanas. But yeah, it got cold where I had to put a jacket on. It was terrible. Come back inside, and then I see pictures of you. It's minus 30. I'm I remember that shit. It's better.
Yeah, it's minus 30, but I can still hear the sparrows. It's fine.
right? Like every once in a while, it'll get close to 0 Celsius down here, and like I turn into the biggest wuss. Like you would be embarrassed to talk to me at all.
I
For real.
believe
Like
it.
it's really, really bad. Like my blood is so thin after being down here for a decade or and a half, I guess.
I
It's
believe
nuts.
it. When
It's
we
brutal.
were when we were at Kyle's house that one time, I kept turning the heat down because I was wandering around in shorts and they didn't really have any other clothes to take off, and I was baking, and everybody else was freezing. Like no,
Yep.
it's not freezing
Yeah,
time.
Zestra, concussed by iguana. What a way to go, right? I mean that. Like, I mean, if that was going to be, the top line on your obituary, that'd be pretty funny.
It would be. It
I
would
mean,
still suck.
there's not a lot more ironic or entertaining ways to go. So that's
Did you know
fun.
that sparrows have antifreeze blood?
What?
There's a more scientific term for it, I'm sure, but their blood doesn't freeze. That's how come they still chirp at -30. They're tiny. They should be dead. They
Right.
should be frozen solid. They don't. Their blood gets thick. They slow down a little bit. If it gets really cold, like -50, they just kind of close their eyes and stay. And then when it warms up, like the iguanas, they thaw out a little bit and start chirping.
How did I not know that? Like that's something that I would imagine that I should have known because I remembered tiny birds being around Yellowknife and like gets to
Yeah,
-40, -50 all the time. Like how do they
yeah.
not die?
That's why I started wondering about that because I'm like, how are they not dead?
Right, right, right.
Because the red-winged blackbirds and the Canada geese and the robins and stuff, they all go hang out with you for the winter. Not the sparrows.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Huh. Well, now you know.
yeah. Nature's cool.
Yeah. Sestramore proof birds are evolved dinosaurs. Indeed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Thanks for hanging out.
Hey,
You're
you should put
awesome.
that. Well, actually, I'll put it up there. Boop boop boop. I'm having to go back from my cart. Yeah, I just bought a couple of these. Pretty excited about it. For anyone that doesn't know, this is actually in Cathedral 2.0, just down the street from the Portal Hub. This is actually an art installation that Jen put in, and I made a little meme out of it.
It was the very first one.
Yep, that's good stuff. Yeah. All right. So I think we're talking about doing a huddle just to everybody at 3. Hey,
Yeah, I think so. I think that's gonna be fun.
that's gonna be fun.
I'm looking forward to it. Pretty sure I have to run out the door right at 3:30 for kids, but that's lots of time.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. Yeah, I gotta connect with Dennis to see what's going on. See, just kind of work on all this stuff so that it's for sure ready tomorrow. Message Adrian already to let him know he really wanted to make sure that he knew when the drop was going to be, so they could actually let everybody know on their platform, which is super awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then yeah, like it's just gonna be ongoing, right? So I think there's just gonna be so much content available. And again, like the goal right now, just so everyone knows, like to finish this buyout, I put up all my equity, which apparently is worth a lot. We're putting literally like every resource we possibly can. I'm putting another 50 grand of my own money into it this week, frankly, to finish it off. We need to raise 250,000 cash. And so we're some of the people in the community basically offered to put some content out, some NFTs out for supporting the DAO, which is just immense and huge and awesome. So we're gonna have those out as NFTs. And hopefully we're gonna be able to do like an odds and end sale, because I think that would really hammer it down. Like there's so many people that kind of want to buy the piece of land next door or whatever, that we could get up to the point where we finish off the cash that we need to raise, but also start to develop some runway so we can make sure the server lights stay on and that you guys get paid, that kind of thing. And I'm talking to a couple potential investors that might want to get some of the DAO token in bulk before we launch it. We want to keep that to a very, very small number of projects or people that we talk to, just because they're effectively we're interviewing people for strategic partners, but the two groups that I'm talking to seriously right now are like people that we would want to have around anyway. So
friends with benefits as opposed to
right. And maybe down the road, we were talking to these people about even joining an accelerator for startups, which like I fucking love that idea. just because
Yeah.
we've got a lot of experience, but like put me in a room full of 20 projects that are all startups that are all kind of working, and like everything we're doing is enhanced by that, and we can enhance everything that they're doing. It's just like that kind of thing sort of sings to me a little bit, and there's
Oh yeah.
every kind of business experience that this team doesn't have, which isn't a lot. Like we're good at almost everything, but not everything, right?
Yeah.
We're going to be able to sort of network and lean on those people so we can really have a super tight, lean, transparent, efficient, beast that turns into a mega beast.
I like that. Mega tiger.
Mega tiger.
Mega tiger is venomous.
What? Oh shit! Things escalated quickly. So there's tiger energy. There's mega tiger energy. Also, mega tiger is venomous.
Yeah.
Do you imagine just showing up like 45 seconds ago to the show? Like, wait, what the?
What are they talking?
Huh?
Yep. Yep.
Have they gone mad? And the answer to that is a resounding yes.
Yeah, about a year ago.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. But we've seen what all the muggles are doing, and we're not super huge fans. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's fun when Eagle Fang.
Yes.
When I'm talking to people now, because we're talking about, okay, we have to set up, either a Wyoming DAO or like maybe an entity offshore, like we're talking like Estonia, a couple different places that are really crypto friendly. So we're like doing all the back end businessy shit to actually do all the things. And it's interesting because like the DAO is going to be how we do the governance and the economics really around all the stuff that we're doing. And it's only going to interface with Muggle money, which is what I call it. Even with investors that are in that space, it's only going to interface with Muggle money in the Muggle system as little as possible, right? So we have to, convert to dollars or some kind of fiat currency to pay for the servers, for example. So that'll be like one interface. That's really one of the only reasons why this entity will exist, so that it can, legally have a bank account and do all of the things and do the taxes and all this other bullshit or whatever. But it's interesting because in every space, like one of the talking to at least one investor who wanted like an actual piece of the company, like, so you probably won't want to do that, right? Because if you have a piece of the company, like, I'm never going to sell it. Like this is not like that I'm not exiting that way, right? Like I'm not going to build a company and then sell it to Facebook and make $1 gazillion. In fact, I'm making that impossible by turning it into a DAO. Right.
Yeah.
Like the DAO architecture will dictate, what happens with that little entity or whatever, and the value transfer, as far as people that own the DAO tokens, is that's going to be it, right? If you own a share in this little LLC and you don't get the DAO tokens, you won't get anything unless I sell it. I'm not going to sell, so it's not good for you, right? But if you have the DAO tokens and you even glance at the revenue sharing idea that Tuttle came up with, that like, I have yet to see anything even remotely suggest we won't do. You're going to want to do that. And like some people can't really process it because it's really new. But there's one new friend of mine who's actually doing, what was the title? He's working with a fund. And he's the digital assets manager, which is like a new thing that you get to do now, right?
Yeah.
Which is super fun. Got it instantly. Like that, like this is Web3. We're not fucking around. Like this is the kind of thing that we're gonna be doing. And he totally got it. So that part's been fascinating because we're on the bleeding edge, right? Like there's a few DAOs out there. There's a bunch actually, but it's not like a super common practice.
No, it's not something my mom knows about. So that's been an interesting conversation.
Right, but I think honestly, within 12 to 24 months, it will be something that your mom will know about.
Likely,
right?
Yeah.
So, and not just because all of her family is going to be neck deep in one of the coolest DAOs that we'll ever think about it, right? Like we really do have an opportunity to
yes,
to put a big footprint on this entire idea. Hey, zombie, is it zombied or zombied? I don't know how to fucking say that, but I love how it's written. I think UpCloud accepts crypto for server use to know if it's as good as AWS, but FYI, they're crypto-centric servers. Yeah, we've been thinking about that too, and I think moving to something like that right now, like getting people that have expertise around AWS, is so important for us because like scaling is one of our biggest challenges, right? Everyone's like lag on the servers or whatever, so we need to kind of go with the most familiar route so that we can get the best talent for the least amount of cost. to learn and explore how we can most aggressively go after that. But if we end up getting a really, really good tight system and some place that takes crypto can handle that, and can allow us to increase and decrease our server capacity elastically, that kind of thing, then it's definitely something we could look at in the future. But it's just like everything is kind of happening really fast now, so I need to figure out like, how do we get things done this month, right? So we're sort of having to just stick to what we know on the server end. But that's okay. I mean, that's the Wyoming DAO as an example. The Wyoming DAO is literally designed for this, right? All the stuff that happens in our Magic Fairy internet money place happens, right? And the DAO, Wyoming DAO LLC, literally just sits there to be that interface so that you can legally and in compliance with regulations get a bank account, turn things into fiat dumb money, and do all the things, right? So it basically just acts as the muggle interface for the DAO, which is kind of cool.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating.
It really is. And I enjoy that my learnings of the business world are starting in the crypto sphere, where it's decentralized and mostly unregulated. There have been a few conversations I've had with Russell where I've had ideas and he said, that's illegal, right? I'm like, not in crypto.
Right. I mean, that's the
I don't
thing.
know about that rule.
Well,
So
and this is the thing. Like, they're right. Like the it's funny. Somebody shared. It was prescient. Somebody shared from the 90s this news article about VoIP. Half of you probably know what that is, right? Voice over Internet Protocol, right? And basically, it was like the phone industry had been milking us hard. Like, I remember a long distance phone call I had from like Yellowknife to Edmonton when I was in my first year of university, and it was like $200 for a fucking phone call, right?
Yeah,
it was crazy. And VoIP comes along. It's like, yeah, hold my beer. We're just gonna do it for free. And the telephone industry loses its mind,
which it did,
mind, right? Like, you can't do that, and like that's illegal, and no. And they're like, is it though? Like, you do have control over these specific means of communication. We're not using those anymore, so it doesn't really make sense. And so, like, that's the moment that we're at, right? Like the fiat, but it's so much bigger because like it's not the phone industry; it's fucking Wall Street. It's the Federal Reserve, right? Yep. It's the SEC. It's like, no. This is how humans are allowed to collaborate legally in this, ecosystem. Yes. And if you want to make a contract that then provides value on the other side, you have to do it our way. And everyone in crypto is like, do we though? Right? And and that's it's a non-trivial problem, right? And like Ripple coming out and doing all the things Ripple did, like I've heard people argue this, and frankly, they're deeply wrong. By the SEC standards, there is no universe in which Ripple is not a fucking security. None. They're a security. They sold it. It never did anything except to represent the company until much, much later. They basically duct taped that shit onto it after the fact, right? It's a security, but they're not losing right now. They're in court with the SEC right now, and they're doing really well because the SEC has its head all the way up its ass. They gave Ethereum and Bitcoin a total fucking pass and said they're definitely not securities. Lo and behold, there's people that are sitting on the SEC that are sitting on the board of directors for the Ethereum Foundation, right? So they're just like literally shooting themselves in the foot over and over and over again, right? So like it's like, poof, the system that's supposed to be regulating this, and they say it's to protect small investors or whatever. What that really means is that you're not even allowed to touch the first round of like a Facebook investment unless you have $250,000 liquid, right? So it's ludicrous. And now, right, like looking at every single book on the face of the earth, Rich Dad Poor Dad is a good example, right? They're going to tell you, listen, you got to go buy an asset. Well, what's an asset? It's definitely not your fucking house, right? Nope. Your house isn't an asset until you sell it and make a profit, right? An asset is something that you can buy that makes you more money, right? And so I've always been fascinated with and like degen now in like play to earn space, right? Like if you give me an NFT that prints something else, I want to buy it. And you could do the basic ROI function. This is why Our Planet was such an amazing thing in the beginning, right? Like you buy an NFT and you stake it, cool. Now you find out that you get a return on investment. You can make, depending on the price of Aether at the time, it was like really high or whatever. you had for a while like a 90-day ROI timeline, right? So like if you buy a house, it's going to take you 30 years, 20 years, whatever. It's going to take you many decades to pay that out, that off, to the point where if you rented it out or whatever, you would actually have a positive cash flow, on that
And
property. I
that's
know it's more
not
complicated
including
now,
all
but you
the
get the
money
idea.
you lose on the process.
Right. And again, like, there's ways to get a positive cash flow on them with and just ignore all that for a minute, right? But just like if you were going to do one, I want to pay it off.
Yeah.
Now with these NFTs, there's sometimes timelines as low as like 90 days.
Yeah.
Right. So you buy an NFT and 90 days later, that NFT is paid off already. You've earned back all the money that you put into that NFT. And in some cases, they're going to print forever, basically. Right. And never trust that. Like always, with a grain of salt, because like our planet's a good example. Like they're not the community stuff. They nerf literally all of it, and fine, right? They're trying to balance their own shit out or whatever. But that it just goes on forever.
Yep.
Right. And that's really, really fascinating, because that means that somebody, from the Philippines, as an example, could buy an Axie Infinity and could play that Axie Infinity over and over and over again and make Western levels of money. Which in the Philippines goes, a long way. It changes the world, right? Like it literally changes the world. Like it gives, and we all have to be careful, and we all have to be, heads on swivels and be smart about all this stuff. But it's the moment where, people can shoot for creating passive income flows that, will work with hundreds of dollars, not $250,000 plus.
Yes.
And the Facebooks of the world are going to come out of this industry. They just are, right? And it's not going to happen fast. It's not going to happen in, if it happens in 6 months, it'll come down just as fast, right? Like it's the expect to be a half decade or a decade in before things are completely mental. But I think that's where we're at.
Sounds
and I mean,
great.
like, why would you want to be anywhere else, right? Like that, like this is the leading edge of human beings collaborating in this civilization in a new way. What? Oh, also, we're going to do it all digitally. we're going to create a metaverse where everybody can just hang out and start encoding their gratitudes and their histories and their architecture and their art in, a space where you can then go and walk through it 10 years later. We've never seen anything like that before.
I never have either, but 16-year-old me figured this is where we would be about now and figured it was a bit of a dream.
Yep.
So
Snow crash, baby.
I'm both surprised and not surprised.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well put.
Of all the people I'd be dealing with to do this thing, you're here. And to me, that's an absolute given. Zero surprise. Not to say that you've been talking about this your whole life, but you kind of have.
but also, yeah. Back when everyone was like, "You're completely fucking insane." Yes.
Yes.
Sooner or later, the technology is going to catch up.
Exactly. And I listened and I thought, okay, well, this is interesting. I should pay attention slowly over time, quietly in the background. Just see what happens.
I'm still amazed that it, like, when you get to the intersection of trends, right? So people talk about this all the time, right? If you can be on the technology trend or on the internet trend or whatever, and if you can get kind of on two waves simultaneously, just watch what happens. And lo and behold, like 9 months ago, we, were among the very first projects, certainly on Wax, to be thinking in terms of play to earn.
Yeah.
Which is a whole genre, which is like taking the world by storm. And we're, doing metaverse when there was only 2 other projects, maybe 3 that were really in the space. We're like, yeah, hold our beer. Like we've got this scrappy, weird way to do it with Minecraft, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what nobody was doing was NFTs as land ownership, which to me just made perfect sense. And why, like, I remember the first question we got when we first started talking to people about it is, why hasn't anyone done this yet?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. Like that should speak volumes, right? Like, how is this not being done? And of course, there's a couple other projects that are doing it now. And honestly, I think Minecraft being used as a base layer for the metaverse by people that aren't us, like, there's no walled garden around that. I think it's going to be huge. And I think part of the future story of what the uplift is going to be about is actually plugging all of those networks together in a meaningful way, right? Like we're going to have our own stuff and we're going to make it so that other networks, if they, are so compelled, can sort of attach into the larger metaverse. Because I think like that, as a base layer for a billion person metaverse is really, really fascinating because it's so interoperable.
It is, and that's something that's the question I ask anytime I get somebody on an awesome show is, okay, so now how do we integrate all this? And what amazes me consistently is that I am talking to people who say, well, it's a little bit tricky because it's never been done before, but I think we could do this, and this, and maybe it would work. Nobody says no. That's the part that absolutely boggles my mind, is that no matter how many times I ask about that interconnectivity, nobody says no. They just say, well, it's a bit of a challenge, but we're working on it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Right. I mean, that's right. Like that's the general consensus that you figured out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, Zombie said there are other Minecraft faux play to earn on ETH now, but they're absolutely suck compared to the Uplift. I've been doing PayG for almost 5 years, and the Uplift PDE model is the best I've ever seen. Well, on that note, like the play to earn thing, just so that you're aware, and I think a lot of people are, like, we're doing rewards. Legend is doing rewards for the last time this week in Wax. Like Upliftium's not going to change. And then we're gonna have to start rebuilding the rewards pool to get up to the point where we have some the similar kind of numbers. But we got a bunch of really, really amazing ideas where it's going to be better anyway. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be like kind of a tough moment when people realize that, because I know some people have been kind of crushing it off the rewards pool, but we got to build that back up. But we'll be able to. It'll take a little while, but we'll get back to there. And then just figure out like how do we increase the. I think the biggest thing, Jen, like for the play to earn stuff, the rewards for play, and again, like Upliftium is always going to be a part of that, and we'll build up some Wax, and I think even getting some guest drops like Blue. I mean, I know the guys over at Blue Deck, so
yeah
right. So like having like a week or a month where different projects drop their token on the space is going to be good. But what happens when in the survival worlds, right, where we set up a collection. And honestly, I think like the economic zone could be and should be its own collection and its own DAO, right? So that's something that we need to kind of talk about in the team or whatever. This is one of those other ones where to make it anti-fragile, we make it its own thing. And so, everybody's making shops and buying and selling stuff for Upliftium in game. That's super fun. You can take Upliftium out. If you have 1 million, you take it out as an NFT. Super fun. Then it gets tokenized, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, let's say you create 1,000 glass and you want to sell that glass. You don't want to sell it in game. You want to sell it on Atomic as an NFT.
Yes, please.
Right? So you send that out there as an NFT, buy and sell it on the open market. And if it's on Nefty, we're like Shipple, Nefty token, freaking Blue Deck, blah, 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 right? And it just becomes a collection thing. And again, like, who knows? Kate maybe fucking tokenizes Wood because they think they're funny. They're amazing, right? So like just that one move. Suddenly the economics of scale, you're not even limited to the people that can come by. You can actually take it out. And of course, when you take it out, we would burn a little bit with resource sink, which makes more scarcity, which everybody wants, right? And then there'd probably be like 9% of the collection or whatever. So that's going to help make sure we keep the server lights on for 1,000 years, yada yada yada. So it just makes business sense for the DAO. Not only that, but like the more people use it, again, like the revenue sharing thing, all of the economic interest, because the main DAO, like all the other DAOs would be underneath it, right? They would be owned by it. So we're talking about every single one of those things, all the primary and secondary revenue, 30% of that going to the DAO, and then going to the DAO token holders for the uplift, right? So like the more money we make, the more money all of us make, which is kind of how it always should have been, right? And again, this is one of those things that like, if you squint at it the wrong way, right? Like there will be people that, think that legacy systems won't like that. Maybe they won't, right? But at the end of the day, like the DAO's not going to care.
Yep.
Right. And this is like, we're a collective, and this is how it works, right? Like we're deciding to be part of this thing, and this is this new economic model where you can actually do this kind of thing.
I love the idea of collective and collective based actual democracy, not the kind of democracy where you sit in a room and debate shit and
exactly. It's inefficient, right? And again, like there's DAOs that are deeply inefficient, right? So we're looking at just having one token, one vote, for example, right?
Yeah.
Unless it's really run by the team, and in the early days it will be, right? Like between
Yeah.
me and the team, we're going to have enough to basically get things passed. So the DAO token holders are going to be able to vote and make their will heard, and if there's any ties, yeah, right. But like
Yeah.
we need to do that so that it can be efficient. But there's like look at what Dan Larimer is doing with Eden. They're basically creating systems that will be a lot more. Exactly. Sounds like EOS Fractally. Thanks, Doug. So yeah, like having that sense where it's not just going to be weighted for the token, but there's going to be ways for people's voices to be heard, and it's DAO within DAO within DAO. I think is going to be the way that we need to go. Zami, as far as letting you sell your bills like that, can you expand on that? Tell me exactly what you mean by that, because I'm not trying to understand, and I definitely want to understand.
Oh,
that sounds really cool.
Like almost like a schematic, maybe.
So maybe, right?
Like a thing.
Right.
And
like
if you get the NFT for the build, and then
I like that. Well, and then only we would recognize that because we're doing the schematic pacing. So this would work. So this would actually, I think this might actually be something that would be its own thing. So we start a Uplift DAO community build schematic, blah, blah, blah. Let's come up with a better name because that's a mouthful and a half. We confirm the builders, right? So we know it's you. We know you built it. And you say, hey, like, I want to turn this build into a schematic. So we copy that schematic. We associate that file with an NFT. You can go out and sell that NFT, right? And take the primary. We maybe do halvesies on the secondary or whatever. And Bob's your uncle. Just get out of here, right? And then on schematic installs, we would basically charge, uplifting for schematic installs, probably the same as, picture installs, maybe a little bit more, just time for whatever. And that would work, which is really fun. So Adam, how will we acquire DAO tokens? Will there be a way for someone to just own a large portion of DAO tokens and make decisions? So the current breakdown, and again, like this isn't finalized, but I think we're close enough that you could probably take it to the bank a little bit, because we've been firming up this plan for about a week and a half. After we're done the odds and ends sale in I would imagine probably a month, maybe 6 weeks, we're going to drop 15% of all the DAO tokens to landholders. So, depending on how much land you own, when we take that snapshot, and we'll announce like before we do it or whatever, you'll get a commensurate share of all the DAO tokens that we drop in that, as we drop 15% out to the people. Okay. Then we got a couple more sales we want to do. Polygon, we're going to have NFTs on Polygon. They've been asking for a world for a while, so we're going to do like a little 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer world over there. We're talking about doing a big, huge deal, a small map, but like where 1,000 Bored Apes can upgrade their Bored Apes to get a piece of land for 0.15 ETH or whatever. So we'll do a couple sales. Then we're going to drop another 10% on all of the landholders. So basically, however much land you have, the first one you're going to get a share of 15%, and however much land again you have at the second one, you'll get a share of 10%. So 25% is going to go out to the landholders. And again, like I'm buying the company back for literally millions. And then we're just giving that to the people that have brought in so far. So that's kind of fun. I'm going to have a bunch of DAO tokens, and I'm actually going to be splitting 25% of the DAO tokens with basically what we're calling the co-founding staff, like the people that came over and said, hey, we're going to work with you for free to make sure that we can actually bootstrap this back up and save it, basically, right? And there's a possibility that we're going to have we're talking to some strategic partners about helping us raise the 250K that we need to finish the buyout. So we might be offering some NFTs that we will drop say 1% of the DAO tokens to in that kind of thing, but we're trying to be kind of super selective of how we do that. We don't want it to just be anyone. So that would be another way. That's in bulk though, right? So look, those are going to be kind of expensive. Yeah, and then that's pretty much it, right? So like to initially between me and the team, we're going to have effective control, and that'll last for a while, and it needs to, right? Like we need to make sure that nobody can come in and buy up all the tokens to try and do something or whatever. I think like getting land is definitely the best way, because then you always have the land. But yeah, I mean, if it's somebody that has $50 grand that they want to buy 1% of the tokens, which is what they're going for, then have them, at me, because that is something we're entertaining to get to this point where we can actually finish the buyout. But yeah.
Question for you. I have NFTs that I want to donate to the Save the DAO collection. How do I do that? Who do I contact?
That's a good question. I would talk to Hugh.
Hugh?
You.
Me.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So, Adam, do Borvalis and Swineland count for that? No. It'll be only Uplift NFTs. Now, granted, we're in the odds and end sale. We're going to have Rail and Borvalis and Swineland count for that, and those will count because those are NFTs in our collection. But yeah, it's gonna need to be NFTs in our collection to count.
And all of that's going to be like super clear and laid out in written format in places where everybody can have access to it.
Before exactly. Like, this is stuff that, like, the ideas are forming up, and we're pretty confident and comfortable with that. None of this is going to happen tomorrow. We're going to have announcements, like official announcements out, before we do any of this stuff.
Yeah, Save the DAO wallet. Let's
we have one, right? So
we do. So,
I guess, hey, and then I guess we could just like put them on sale and do that stuff.
I'll talk to the people, and I'll try and have like a unified, consistent answering thing for tomorrow.
Right? Like, if we did that, then those other collections are getting all the secondary, which is great, right? Yeah, I mean, I feel threatened with a good time, and honestly humbled at the help. Like, all jokes aside, like that, just the it's tough even for me to process sometimes. Like, the community energy behind this, it just, that's how I know it's going to work. Like, that, we're going to, on our team and me personally, like, we're leaving literally everything on the field to make sure that it works. But the fact that, so many other people are just, coming to help is, it's a fucking big deal.
You made the song "We Are the Tide," and the community is showing up as a tsunami.
Listen to you. This mega tiger is venomous.
Very.
Oh, man. Zombie, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Like, a lot more than I can say without bursting into tears. Just gonna go ahead and drink more coffee.
All right, so tomorrow I will figure out how people can contribute to the Save the DAO collection and have some sort of messaging on that.
Yeah. One idea, remind me, Jen, if I forget about this again. I can't remember who brought it up, but it was really smart. Speaking of Borvalis and Swineland, we put an endpoint on that, right? And say, listen, like, you have a week to do it. And whatever is left in our inventory after that, region-wise, right? Okay, this is cut off now. Now whatever's left, we put that land up for sale as NFTs on our collection, but you can only buy it with Upliftium.
Ooh.
And that's like such an increase short term, right? So we have to balance it. It's such an increase in potential buy pressure for Upliftium that we might be able to. And this is me speculating, so nobody take this as decided, because I'm literally I'm having an idea in real time. So look, don't yell at me later if this doesn't happen. People will anyway. Whatever. But we've been thinking about, okay, when can we increase Upliftium inflation, right? And again, like, the rewards pool is going away as part of this deal. Like, that we didn't have any other option, right? Which is a pain in the ass, but it's better than the Uplift dying, in my humble opinion. And we're gonna be able to build it back, the wax part of it, right? But Upliftium, we fucking have that. Like, this is only, we can do whatever the fuck we want with that, right? So that might be a way to really crank things up so that, like, the play to earn function is still very vibrant, right? And like, really all you need to do is, like, if you 2x the price of Upliftium, then nobody's gonna notice that wax rewards went away anyway, right? Which is kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so, like, I love that idea, and I think, like, having a certain amount of land that is kind of always for sale with Upliftium, like, the more I started thinking about that idea, like, why wouldn't we do that exactly? Right? Like, just like, fuck it. Like, we should. That's a whole other lever that we get to, to control, to have an effect on the economy, right? You watch what What the things with the, oh my god, Axie Infinity. I'm sorry, I had a brain fart there. Um, Tuttle and I analyze their updates all the time, and like they are ruthless with changing the cost of SLP. Which was like something love potion or something. Like the
Yeah.
change of their fucking tokens are so fucking fun. Right? Like they basically changed the how much it costs to breed and how much it costs to do this or whatever to basically balance the ecosystem out, right? And of course, everyone screams at them every time they do it, but they've created a titan, right? At the end of the day, they're creating a long-term, economically viable arc for their token price that works, right? And it's been super fascinating watching them do it. So anytime we can actually create a different way to, increase buy pressure or increase sell pressure on the token to balance it out, and ultimately month over month, quarter over quarter, whatever, figure it out, like have it so that I mean, I don't want to say number go uppy, but
Yeah.
there's different ways to skin that cat. Literally, too, like somebody messaged me yesterday about Blue Dax. Like, like Blue Dax price, because we have been putting a lot of token out and nobody's ever had to buy it. So, there's a lot of sell pressure on that token. And for the people that are actually playing the game, they're all up like 5x in wax value. But I mean, you just put it in and like hope for the best. No. But if you're doing the math, and we've provided all of the information for people to do the math on all of the stuff with all the information that's freely available on Alcor, it's working. So that's the other thing too, right? Like the sometimes the thing you think is the thing isn't the thing. And so we have to keep that in mind too, which is making my brain hurt. Luckily, I've had enough coffee to handle that today.
That's good. Hey, there's one more question in the comments. I don't know the answer to that one.
So if we buy an NFT, where does that resale percentage go? Like, so that's kind of a vague question. So if Zestra, you have a collection and you send that NFT to us to sell, we would get the primary from that sale, right? And you would get the secondary from that sale if it's from your collection, right? So if we mint in our collection that and then we sell it there, then we get the primary and the secondary. So basically, like whoever's collection it comes from originally, they will have set the secondary market percentage, and they're the ones who get it. Which honestly, like, I still think people don't understand how powerful that is. Like, we're still exploring that now. Like, this is something that's going to be printing money for people decades from now. Which is
okay. So I'm going to go for another layer deeper on that. I buy land right now. Who gets the secondary?
Not us.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah, and we're still trying to figure out when that cutoff is. It's like when we launch the odds and ends sale, that'll be how you know that we're actually, the new uplift is actually getting the income from those sales. Right now, all that stuff is still going to Legend.
Okay, so odds and ends sale is when it's officially chopped.
Yeah, because we're not gonna launch it until we know that those funds are coming to us, so that we can actually start paying for the stuff that we need to pay for. Zestra, Legend will receive the percentage if I bought a miner. Yes, until we do this turnover, they're getting the secondary market on everything.
So once things are turned over, they continue to get the secondary market on everything that's
get everything
done.
Nope.
But everything going forward.
Nope.
No.
Once we turn it over, the keys are ours. We get everything.
We get everything? Everything?
Yeah, everything.
Even on all of my old land from a year ago?
Yes.
Okay. That's important to note.
Yeah.
Okay.
Part of the reason why it's costing about $5 million.
And that's another, okay. And so I'm figuring all this out in my mind and going through all of what you've said, and it just all making sense.
Right.
Yeah. I like it when it makes sense. All right. Yeah. Cool.
All right. So, I guess we're not doing. Yeah, everyone's just going to do the 3 o'clock instead of the 11 o'clock. That's good. Sorry, I just realized what time it was.
There's the thing. Yeah. Is there a thing?
Yeah, we're talking about doing. We're going to do a huddle at 3.
Good. I like 3.
Yeah, but I just popped into the channel and they're still.
Okay.
The whole team is grinding away on everything while we're live here, which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Yep. We'll have more to catch up on.
Yeah.
Always.
So, especially with like Dennis and Cowie and Gary being in Europe and Singapore or whatever. Like by the time we get out, there's like they've been working like all night on stuff. It takes
But
my first half hour to catch up on it all.
it does, but it's gotten to a point of being like, 60 messages in the morning I can handle. It's better than 400. We're getting
Yeah,
there.
well, there was a pretty kinetic, moment of uncertainty there for a hot minute, and luckily we're past that, which is fun.
That was an explosion, but whatever.
Yeah, and legit, like we're gonna look in 6 months. We're gonna look back on this as the biggest opportunity that the Uplift has ever could have, and I believe that very, very firmly. So, we're gonna do the work.
Yep.
All right, and like it's not gonna be like 2 months before I come back to coffee if you want me to come back, because like this is
good.
It's nice to kind of just hang out.
It's fun, and people can ask you questions, and they like that. So I like that, because sometimes people ask me questions and I'm like,
me too.
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, and like some of the stuff recently we just haven't known the answer to it, and I feel like we're finally getting to the point where there's clarity developing around it, and whatever we don't have answers for, it just gets put on the pile of shit we have to figure out, and we will. That's the one thing that I know about this team is that if it needs to get solved, it's going to get solved, and now it's going to be simpler for us to accomplish the things we need to accomplish. Is that the nicest way I can put that?
There's been tremendous movement in the direction of solutions in the last week.
Nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mega tiger answer.
Yep.
Yep.
And if there's been tremendous movement this week, there's venom coming.
Oh, listen to you. I don't think we need the venom. I mean, damn.
Well, we get some sleep first.
Okay.
Then venom.
We just don't need venom. We just make it good.
Intergalactic tigers.
That's better. I'm anything space related. I'm just going to be in instantaneously.
Not just rockets. Intergalactic tigers.
When someday the Uplift is gonna like sponsor a big fucking rocket from SpaceX, and we're gonna call it the Intergalactic Tiger.
Yes.
Yeah, it is like be painted. Probably.
All right. Now I have to go draw tigers.
Yep, I agree.
Yep. For the
STC, cheers, man! Thanks everybody for hanging out and for all the questions and
yes, this is good.
Rad.
And feel free to share this. This will be up. YouTube usually posts the things a little bit after the live's over, so feel free to share it around if people are asking questions that are answered.
Yep. And just cross fingers for us and just thanks for all the support. Like just
absolutely.
From every
wonderful.
Single corner of every single atom in my heart and everywhere else. Thank you, because it
makes it worthwhile.
It does. It does. Like, this could have been scary and feeling like a big risk for the team and for me personally. And because of you guys, it doesn't. Like, and that is an unspeakably intense gift. So. Yeah,
actually, now that you mention it, I felt stressed a little bit, but not scared.
Yeah.
There was no point where.
I'll tell you right now, I was scared out of my fucking mind. Now, granted, like the amount that I'm risking is a number that doesn't even make sense to me as a person.
This is true. This is also true. Yes.
It's like, what?
This is true. But you have reason to be scared.
At the same time, like it gets so much easier, and this is ultimately like the team coming over made it, right next door to a no-brainer. And then, when we started talking to all the builders and the gallery owners, which is the core people that are just like ruthlessly, constantly bringing value and cool creativity to the space. And they were like, no, man, we'll help you. What do you guys need? Right. And like that to me, and then everybody else besides, like all the DMs that we've been getting or whatever, it's like, I have been reassured that it was very much the right decision. And now it's just like burn the ships. There's no going back for me at all. And so, come hell or high water, we're just going to make it work.
Yep. I'm in.
Blam.
Awesome. All right. I think that's a good note to end on. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. And thanks for the cups. Guys, check the comments for the links for the cup. Hold on. Do I still have that in my thing? I do.
I'm excited and happy about those. They're fun.
Yeah, dude. I bought a couple and I'm excited about it. I'm going to give one to Michelle. She's going to be like, I don't need more cups. Except, honestly, I don't think she's going to. She's going to be like, I have a Gen Original. I'm like, yeah, you do.
Yeah, and then we can take those and put them on the NFTs for the Save the DAO, and then you can save the DAO and drink your coffee and save the DAO some more.
Oh, that's weird. I like it. That's super
Right.
meta.
Yeah.
Right? Just be like, but then we'll have to like run it through like an animation filter because they don't like photography. Again, Atomic, Jonah. Come on, man. Makes no sense. But whatever. We can get around it.
I can manipulate it.
Right, that like Prisma. There's like a
Skills.
bunch of different things, right? You just make it look like super, and that's even fun. Or even better, like, I've got a bunch of credits. You know that AI thing that everybody started doing, like the basic takes your picture and like you can put a seed phrase in, it'll like make it all like super psychedelic and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I bought like $100 of credits of that machine. So if anyone wants to do any of that stuff, I can do that.
Well, I know what I did with my Mermicorn painting. I layered a picture of ripply water over top of her, so it looks like she's more underwater.
Okay.
But
I like it.
Yeah, but there's no reason I can't do weird things like that with photos too.
Need to Save the DAO coffee. If anybody knows anybody that's making coffee, like, well, I mean, who knows? I've heard crazier ideas.
I know of a roaster that I think does custom packaging.
Okay.
But if anybody, who's listening happens to know anybody who owns a coffee farm, that would be cooler. Saying,
right.
Because we have a nice international audience.
We do. Yeah,
if anybody knows anybody with coffee farm who wants to get involved, let us know.
Like moving tens of thousands of HODL coffee. That's the shit right there. Even better. Hold on. I'm going to type this in.
Caution. Contents may be HODLed.
That sounds kind of scary and like indigestion.
Ooh.
Yeah, the only thing better than HODL to me is Biddle.
Biddle coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. The idea of supporting a local producer is so much fun too, because then, all of what you support goes back to their community. And
right? Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like when you pay more for coffee to like, have some of it run into the DAO and, support, good local coffee growing and local economy there. And there's, the real win-win-win. God damn it.
I'd be all over that so fast. I met some coffee producers in the Cook Islands. I should see, maybe they'd be interested because they're small enough that maybe. It was really good coffee too.
I like really good coffee.
Yeah. Or Lao Mountain Coffee. If anybody knows how to get me in touch with the Lao Mountain Coffee Company, I'm all ears because I've been trying to find them for 10 years. They weren't on the internet.
What if we just like Googled like brand your own coffee?
Oh, I already know how to do that.
Fine.
I'm just there's Tiger and there's Venomous Tiger.
Venomous Tiger coffee. Like if that's not a hipster dream come true, I don't know what is.
We'd have to be careful about marketing though because of the Civet Cat coffee. Because that shit's a thing and it's super expensive and we don't really.
It's funny that shit is a thing. Ha ha ha.
Isn't that where
they literally?
If anybody doesn't know about it, Google it because it's a thing and it's kind of.
Catch it coffee.
Yeah, might be amazing, but I'm not trying it.
Right? And like who was the first person to do that?
That's what I'd like to know. Who scooped up the cat poo, rinsed it off in the gross river, and was like, "Oh, there's coffee beans. I'm gonna roast this shit."
Coffee real bad, and this is all we have, and the cat ate it. Hold my beer.
Ew.
And then to be like, "Wait a minute, this is good." That's like, well, okay.
Yeah, I know all the bacteria would get killed in the roasting, but I still don't like it.
Yeah,
that idea just bothers me.
It's the whole thing.
I don't know though. I ate intestines in Mexico, so maybe I don't know. Whatever.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, that's we do a lot of other gross things. It's like what?
It's true. It's true. But yeah, so branding is the thing to watch out for.
Right? Yeah, hungry people will do all the things to eat, and
that's fair.
People with no coffee will do all the things to coffee.
Yeah.
Maybe more so.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah.
All right, I gotta run, get some shit done. But
this is awesome. You're fun.
Thanks, cuz.
Love everybody. Bye bye. See you tomorrow.
Bye.